Loss has a way of entering a person's life quietly, sometimes with warning, sometimes without, but it always shakes a soul in ways no one else fully understands. For Mira, loss had become a familiar visitor. Her life once felt beautifully steady, a loving family, a stable job, good friendships, and quiet confidence. She had plans, she had dreams, she had stability, but in a single season, everything crashed at once. The first blow came when her company shut down unexpectedly. Just like that, years of hard work vanished into thin air. The second blow followed. Her long-term relationship ended without explanation. No closure, no answers, just silence. And as if grief wasn't satisfied yet, her closest friend moved to another country, leaving Mira feeling abandoned and painfully alone. Every night she whispered, "God, why am I losing everything?" But there was no reply, only the sound of her own shaky breathing in the dark. The night her strength broke one night. Mira sat on the edge of her bed, staring blankly at the floor. Her chest felt heavy, her eyes swollen from crying. She whispered in a trembling voice, "I have nothing left. Why does it feel like life is stripping everything away from me?" Suddenly her voice cracked. She lowered her face into her hands and sobbed. Not gentle tears, the kind of tears that come when a person's heart cracks open. She cried for her lost job, her lost love, her lost friendships, her lost sense of security, and the lost version of herself she could no longer recognize. Her voice barely came out. "God, please don't let this be the end of me." She didn't want miracles. She didn't want luxury. She just wanted one small sign that her life mattered, that her future still existed, that her heart had a reason to keep beating. But silence filled the room again. Mira clutched her blanket tightly. "Have you forgotten me?" Her voice broke into a whisper. She didn't know that heaven was listening closer than her own heartbeat. Loss changes a person. The following days felt heavy. She forced herself out of bed, forced herself to smile, forced herself to pretend that she was fine. But inside, she was collapsing. She avoided people, she avoided conversations, she avoided her own reflection. What Mira didn't understand was this: loss wasn't destroying her, it was reshaping her. But in the middle of pain, no one sees transformation. They only see the hurt. She woke up at 3 a.m. again, the hour where souls feel the world most deeply. And this time, she didn't cry. She sat near her window, staring at the night sky. "God," she whispered, "I've lost everything that gave my life meaning. What am I supposed to do now?" Her eyes closed tightly, and fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. "If there's anything still meant for me, show me." The unexpected encounter. The next morning, Mira went out for a walk to clear her mind. Her eyes were still swollen, her heart still broken, but she forced her steps forward. Halfway down the street, she noticed an elderly man sitting alone on a bench. Something about him felt peaceful, gentle, quietly powerful. As she walked past, he suddenly spoke without looking at her. "You haven't lost everything." Mira froze. Her heart skipped. She turned slowly. "What?" The old man finally looked up, his eyes deep and kind, as if he saw right through her. He repeated softly, "You haven't lost everything. You've only lost what was not meant to stay." Mira's breath trembled. Her voice barely escaped. How did you know I'm going through something?" The man gave a faint smile. "Because God gives me eyes to see broken hearts." A tear escaped Mira's eye. He continued gently, "And he wants me to tell you something." Mira swallowed hard. Her heart pounded. "Tell me," she whispered. The old man looked into her eyes, and said the words her soul was desperate to hear. What you lost was not the end. God is going to restore you. Mira covered her mouth with her hand, tears spilling instantly. The old man stood up slowly and added, "Restoration does not come to those who lose nothing. It comes to those who survive the breaking." Her legs felt weak. Her soul trembled. Before she could ask anything else, the man smiled, nodded, and walked away, slowly, into the morning light. Mira stood frozen, whispering, "God, was that you?" She didn't understand what had just happened, but she felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. A small, trembling seed of hope. A shift in her spirit. That evening, something strange happened. Mira was sitting alone in her room when she felt a warm sensation spreading across her chest. Not painful, not frightening, just warm, like sunlight melting on her skin. Her tears fell again, but this time they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of release. In that moment, she felt something rise inside her soul, something soft and quiet, but undeniably real, a presence, a comfort, a whisper from the unseen. And then she heard it, not from the outside, but deep within her spirit. "You will not end in loss. I will restore everything that was taken from you." Her breath trembled. God spoke again. "I am not punishing you. I am preparing you." The season of loss was needed for the season of restoration to begin. Mira hugged herself tightly as she cried, but now her tears had purpose. Her tears were healing her, strengthening her, preparing her. She whispered, "God, I trust you. Even though it hurts, I trust you." And the warmth grew stronger. Mira woke up the next morning with a strange, unfamiliar feeling in her chest. It wasn't joy. It wasn't relief. It wasn't confidence. It was something gentler, something she had forgotten the shape of. Peace. Not a loud peace. Not the kind that erases troubles. A quiet, trembling peace. The kind that whispers, "You're not alone anymore." She sat on her bed, pulling her blanket around her, and whispered softly, "God, did you really speak to me yesterday?" A warm calmness washed over her heart, as if heaven itself breathed into her spirit. For the first time in months, she didn't feel empty, she felt held. The days of quiet restoration begin. Restoration rarely comes with earthquakes and fireworks. Sometimes it begins in ways so small that the heart almost misses it. Mira didn't see miracles the next day. She didn't receive sudden wealth. Her heartbreak didn't magically disappear. But something within her had shifted. She carried herself differently. Her thoughts softened. Her spirit felt lighter. It was as though God had cupped his hands around her weary heart and whispered, "Just breathe. I'm here." And that was enough to keep her moving. The first sign. A few days later, Mira went to a small cafe, a place she used to visit before life fell apart. As she quietly sipped her tea, the owner, an older woman named Disha, walked over with a smile. "You haven't been around lately. I thought maybe you left the city." Mira forced a small smile. "No, just going through some things." Disha sat beside her gently. "I don't know what happened, child, but I want to tell you something." Mira looked up, surprised. Disha spoke softly. "Sometimes life takes everything away, just to give it back better." Mira's heart tightened, her eyes filled. She whispered, "Why does it hurt so much, though?" Disha placed her hand over Mira's. "Because your soul is stretching, and when God stretches you, he's preparing you for more than you lost." Those words pierced something deep inside Mira. She whispered inside, "God, was this you again?" She didn't know, but the timing felt divine, and that was the first small sign of restoration. A call she didn't expect. A week passed. Life was slow, but no longer suffocating. One evening, Mira sat in her room, updating her resume for new job applications. The taste of rejection still lingered in her memory. Companies hadn't responded, or worse, had declined her politely. Just when she felt that familiar sting of doubt, her phone rang. An unknown number. She hesitated, then picked up. "Hello? Mira?" "Yes." "This is Ananya from your old company." Mira's heart skipped. "We know the company shut down," Ananya continued, "but I kept your number. There's a new startup forming, and your name came up. They want to interview you." Mira nearly dropped her phone. How did they know me?" Ananya laughed softly. "I recommended you, and I told them everything about your dedication. They were impressed." Mira's throat tightened. Her last job, which ended so painfully, had become the doorway to a new opportunity. She whispered inside, "God, are you restoring me already?" A soft warmth pulsed through her heart. A quiet, heavenly yes. A healing she didn't know she needed. But restoration wasn't only about work. Her heart still carried wounds that ran far deeper. One evening, Mira received a text from her former lover, the one who left without explanation. Her hands trembled as she read, "I'm sorry. I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted." Memories flashed like sharp glass cutting through her chest. She took a deep breath. For months, she had prayed for this message. For months, she wanted closure. For months, she begged God for answers. Now that it came, she didn't feel longing. She didn't feel hope. She didn't feel the old pain. She felt clarity. The broken part inside her whispered, "This door was meant to close." And then she felt God's gentle whisper, "I removed what wasn't built to love you. Stop asking me to restore what was meant to leave." A tear slid down her cheek, not of sadness, of release. She typed back, "Thank you for apologizing. I hope you find peace." And just like that, the wound that clung to her heart loosened. The past she couldn't let go of finally let go of her. The quiet voice that returned that night as Mira lay in bed. She felt that familiar warmth again, the same one she felt the night the elderly man spoke to her. She closed her eyes, and God whispered, "You see now? Not everything you lost was a loss." Mira inhaled shakily, tears gathering. "Some things were removed to make space for what you asked me for." Mira pressed her hand over her heart. God continued, "You cried because you thought your story was collapsing, but I was rearranging your life for restoration." Her tears fell freely. "I will restore your joy. I will restore your peace. I will restore your relationships. I will restore your purpose. What you lost will return. Not the same, but better." Mira's soul trembled with gratitude. She wasn't fully healed. She wasn't fully restored. Not yet. But she could feel restoration rising in the distance, like dawn breaking after a long night. She whispered, "I trust you, God, even when I don't understand your ways." And she felt God say, "Good, because the best part of your story is still unwritten." The next morning, Mira woke up with a kind of calm she didn't recognize. Her thoughts didn't rush. Her chest didn't feel heavy. Her heart didn't ache the way it once did. It was as if someone had pressed a warm hand on her soul during the night. She whispered, "God, something is changing in me, isn't it?" The sunlight touched her face softly, almost as if it were answering her gently. The weight begins to lift. For months, Mira had carried invisible weights. Pain she couldn't put into words, fears she couldn't explain, questions she didn't know how to ask. But now, something inside her was beginning to heal. She noticed it in small ways. She wasn't crying herself to sleep anymore. She didn't wake up with dread. She didn't feel consumed by the past. She could breathe without her chest tightening. She wasn't replaying old hurts in her head. It wasn't that life had become perfect, but her heart was becoming stronger. Restoration was happening inside her long before it would show outside her. Her spirit whispered, maybe I didn't lose everything. Maybe I was losing the things that were blocking me from becoming who I was meant to be. A step toward the future. A few days later, Mira attended the interview arranged by Ananya. Her heart beat fast, her palms slightly sweaty, but she held on to God's whisper, I will restore what you lost. The office was warm and modern. The interviewer, a kind woman named Sai, smiled as she reviewed Mira's resume. But instead of standard questions, Sai asked something unexpected. Mira, you've been through a tough season, haven't you? Mira froze. Her smile faded. How do you know? She whispered. Sai closed her file gently. I don't know the details, but I can see resilience in your eyes. People who haven't suffered never have that look. Something broke inside Mira, but in a healing way. Tears filled her eyes. I did lose a lot, she admitted softly. Sai nodded. Good. That means you're ready to grow. Mira blinked. I'm ready? Sai smiled. Yes, ready to build again. People who have been broken know how to rebuild stronger. Mira inhaled deeply. It felt like God was speaking through this woman. By the end of the interview, Sai said, I can't promise everything today, but you fit exactly what we're looking for. Mira left the building with trembling hands and a full heart. She whispered, God, I see you working. A letter from the past. That evening, Mira was sorting through old boxes she had avoided for months. Boxes filled with memories of her old life. Pictures, letters, gifts, parts of herself she had buried. She hesitated, then opened one. Inside, she found a small notebook she had used years ago. On the first page, in her own handwriting, she had written, Dear God, if I ever lose myself, bring me back to who I used to be. Her eyes filled instantly. She placed her hand on the page and whispered, God, is this what you're doing? Bringing me back? A soft warmth spread within her chest. That was her answer. The friend she didn't expect to return. A few days later, Mira's phone buzzed. It was a message from Anjali, the friend who had moved away. Mira froze. They had grown distant. She felt abandoned when Anjali left. She had cried over the silence between them. Now the message read, Mira, I'm sorry I disappeared. Life got complicated, but I've been thinking about you a lot. I miss you. Mira felt a lump in her throat. Anger? No. Bitterness? No. She felt peace. She replied, I missed you too. Maybe we can rebuild. Anjali sent a voice note crying softly. I would love that, Mira. I really would. God was restoring friendships too. Not all of them. Only the ones meant for her future. The night God spoke again. That night, as Mira lay in bed, she felt the familiar presence fill her room. Warm, calm, holy. She closed her eyes, tears gathering. God, she whispered, I feel like you're giving me pieces of my life back. And instantly, she heard it. Not the same pieces, my child, new ones. Her heart trembled. God continued, You asked me to restore what you lost, but I am not giving back what broke you. I am giving you better. Her tears spilled over. You lost love, but I will restore your heart. You lost trust, but I will restore relationships grounded in truth. You lost confidence, but I will restore your strength. You lost opportunities, but I will restore your purpose. Mira covered her face with her hands, crying softly. Everything you thought was gone forever, I will rebuild it in ways you never imagined. A warm peace wrapped around her like a blanket. She had lost much, but she was gaining something greater, a new version of herself, a stronger version, a healed version, a restored version. She whispered, "God, I'm ready. Restore me." And heaven whispered back, "I already have begun."